Lots of love, love. 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 Lots of love, love.
going for these bolts, trying to find the angle they can, trying to find Sal's position.
We're gonna go through this. Oh, what a roll! White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh, Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga 4 is hanging around, getting out of the hot post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3. Melophobia starting the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. B+, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you need just that. Ruby in that back. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the 8? They get the 8.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to round 1 of the CGL Season 16 playoffs. We head down to, I believe, we are in the Masters tier here tonight. We got Low Ground Main versus Iliad Poseidon. So, you ready to get this matchup rolling?
Yeah, it's good to see the other side of the bracket, Fletch. We got to look at the other section last night, and if you missed that, go watch the VOD back. Very good game between Rat Milkers and Atlas. But here now with Low Ground Main and Iliad Poseidon, I mean, Low Ground Main is kind of one of the end bosses. We were talking about this. Low Ground Main has been a phenomenal team in this Masters division for several seasons now. So I'm very excited to see, now that this new crop of talent has made it into playoffs, how they stack up against some of this newer and rearranged talent.
And it's something that, during the opponent picking streams, I was able to talk to these, lower seeded teams about. Let me turn on that light real quick. Oh, I can see.
He's not blind.
No, it was something that a lot of these lower seeded teams talked about during the opponent picking stream. Get a look here. The winner of this matchup will be playing the winner of that Atlas Kesku match, which was, of course, Atlas Kesku. The loser's going to play Rat Milkers in the lower bracket. But, these teams that were lower in the standings across the board, they made it seem like to me that just because they were the lower seeded teams, right, they weren't giving up. They were putting in the work to try and get better, to try and punch up to these, higher, better record teams like Low Ground Main, like Atlas Kesku, right? So I am also very interested to see, Iliad Poseidon come in here and try to punch up. They didn't have the stellar regular season that they would have wanted to. They went 4-4, so not the worst in the world, but they're still, it's still going to be an uphill climb against a team like Low Ground Main.
Yeah, honestly, Fletch, as someone who had to play in this division with a team, this division is deceptively good. Iliad Poseidon is a very, very good team, and to see that they fell in the middle of this, I think it really tells you just how difficult this bracket run is with Visored and Void Ravens at the top. This is just a very, very difficult place to be in. So thankfully there is double elim. They will get a chance, like you said, to go down and play Rat Milkers if you should lose here, but I don't think this is going to be anything less than a 3-1. This is not going to be a 3-0 just based on how it is. And considering that we will be starting on everyone's favorite Lijiang Tower, I don't know that it gives us much of a difference. Both of these teams have been scrimming. Both of these teams have been playing. They've seen this map a million times. The real question that's on my mind, Fletch, is have these teams established what they want to be doing after these patches, after all the changes? Because now with Wu Yang kind of falling out of grace in a bit of ways, teams have to re-identify what are they doing. So we'll see kind of who really scrambled this together now.
I think we kind of saw that last night in the Atlas Kesku Rat Milkers match, right?
Yes.
It was the backlines were consistently, unless Lucio was banned, was Lucio Kiri versus the previous best backline, Kiri Wooyoung.
Yep.
And it was something that I noticed is that the Wooyoung, I have not been, diligent enough to look and see, what they've actually done to Wooyoung to make him worse. If you could maybe update me on that.
I mean, the simple explanation is just he's powered down to where he should be. I will say it from moment one that Wu Yang was always was way too strong of a pick because that
Yes.
always happens with a new character. But now that they've balanced him down a little bit, we're kind of realizing that he's very good. So I actually don't expect to see him get immediately banned out. A lot of teams might just jump on that ban if you don't have a Wu Yang player. So I don't assume low ground is going to be looking at that. They're probably going to be looking, I assume, at the tank battle because we're still seeing people kind of rotate through a lot of tanks. We're seeing a lot of Diva, we're seeing a lot of Orisa, and we're seeing a lot of Zarya still, who's Zarya Reaper still, they got hit a bit, but they're still very strong. So again, now that we're trying to kind of reshape these team identities, I think we're going to kind of see the focus is on, at least to start here, maybe that tank or support line.
Couldn't agree more. Kings Row has always been known as that, rush capital of the world with, something like Kings Row.
We are in Lijiang Tower, my guy. Don't go to game 2 yet. We still got to get through game 1.
You're so right. I'm a little bit sick right now. So I'm out of it. I meant to say Lijiang Tower. But it is still, heavily favored toward that style, especially down here. And I think,
okay.
You were talking about it. It does lend itself to playing Zarya as strong as she is right now. So no surprise there from low ground main banning out the Zar.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense considering you still have the other pieces. Like Reaper did take a hit, but a lot of teams have been experimenting with Venture for the bubbles or things like, other flankers. Genji still gets a lot of bubbles. So my guess to this for Iliad's Poseidon response is probably, I can't imagine you're going to take a support here. I guess the question is, what are you afraid of on the DPS line? Maybe it's the Pharah, if you don't have a Pharah player. I feel like there's some capable hit scans from my memory on Iliad Poseidon, so I don't think we're going to see anything like that. I think the question is going to be, what are you afraid of, and what don't you want to see? So maybe if there's, you don't have a Pharah player or a Genji player, that would be my guess. Because I just don't see an immediate, you're not going to take away Lucio on control. That just doesn't, unless you just don't feel comfortable with it, you're not getting rid of it.
And that's kind of the hard part about talking about potential bans specifically on map number 1s of these playoff games. Is a lot of us haven't been around these teams nearly enough to know what they want and what they would prefer to play. So we're kind of feeling it out just as much as y'all are, and we're gonna see a Tracer ban out from Iliad Poseidon, and it's not the worst, right? Tracer's always strong, never a bad thing to take away. But I guess they are also trying to feel out low ground main, getting rid of Tracer.
Yeah, I do. Something kind of tells me that there is a stronger Tracer player. I think Kind is probably that player. So if you're not feeling comfortable winning that Tracer duel, this makes the most sense to me, just to try to get rid of it. Tracer is usually a good target for that, so I could see for those kind of Zarya plays. So I could have seen maybe trying to get rid of those if you're worried about win clips.
Yeah, we'll get a look at our rosters here though. Low ground main up first, Kind and Pred on the DPS line. High quality manning that tank role, and Swag Daddy and Saucer coming up in that back line. This team they've been great this season. They've only lost one game that they played, right? Yep. Their last week was a forfeit. Probably because they wanted to prepare for the postseason, and they knew that last game really didn't matter all that much. So coming in here with that strong record, but on the other side, they're going to have to get through Iliad.
Yeah, Iliad with Britsky and Rambo headlining the DPS, George Sun over on the tank, and Batman and Drained Cowboy on support. Seeing Rambo with Tracer as preferred hero, and then seeing the immediate Tracer ban actually gives me a lot of questions for this first round ban, because Iliad was the one that banned out Tracer, and if Rambo was feeling, if that's their preferred hero, if that's their pick, maybe they're just trying to kind of hedge their bets, maybe seeing how they're going to do outside of the Tracer duel before they really get into it, particularly because we're going to see what happens, because if we see that ball come out from the side of low ground main, and we've seen a lot of ball players out here in Masters. Like, Tracer does become infinitely more playable for a team like low ground main.
All right. Headed into map here very, very soon. We'll get to see what the ideas are. Not really what I expected, but, you know, not unwelcome, I suppose. A fairly... I really got nothing. Iliad Poseidon coming in with
Yeah,
an
that's
interesting
interesting.
backline.
So Juno did get like some. So Juno did get some like bonuses. Like Juno did get some buffs out of this, so that doesn't totally shock me. And considering she's very fragile, like I guess you want to pair the Brig with it. That makes sense to me. But like just not playing the Lucio with that when he's so strong right now feels kind of odd. Especially for George, who's now kind of a lot slower on this, and those approaches are going to be very, very intense.
Okay, coming in here, into the control center. Georgetown is already, you know, going in on this backline. Turning around is the rest of low ground main, or rather, I suppose it was just high quality that was a little bit further ahead. Rambo trying to force out some cooldowns before, you know, just absolutely waiting for that opportunity to go in. Now finally does, and goes down to Kind. Unfortunately, the Genji duel belongs to Kind in this first fight. Brisky holding the off angle, trying to keep this Cassidy in control, walking up behind Pred, but now the Genji is there. Kind getting rid of that off angle. Iliad Poseidon does take this first flip, but now being forced back, this is really, really awkward.
Yeah, it's a very tough position because Pred was able to just control this high ground and kind of just live up there, being able to free fire from those angles while having protection for their support line. So there'll be a swing back this way, but ults are coming online, and high quality doesn't have theirs first. So this pull might be big if resources get taken away. Ooh.
Nah, just George getting chunked down right now, and without that tank, this fight is going to be impossible to win for Iliad.
Yeah, I'd say that gives low ground main 4, almost 5 ults. Kind, unfortunately, taking that first death really did kind of hurt them in their ult charge, but low ground main just has the tactical advantage here with all those ultimates, so they should be able to set up for a position, pull in for that high noon, and we should be good here.
Terra Surge is actually going to get a bunch of pulls, but Batman able to clean it up. Now a second for the Juno player. See the rally come down from Eddie. That's going to fade away here very, very soon. Didn't quite even hear that one, but a 1-for-1 ultimate trade gets Iliad Poseidon in position to continue their climb.
I will say low ground main got the better of that trade, though. Getting rid of the Brig rally is like, that was their defensive. You're now forced, if you're Iliad Poseidon, you're now forced to use this Annihilation defensively, so you're going to have to use it now.
Okay.
Never mind.
We saw the unfortunately, I think the idea was to use the orbital ray defensively.
Yeah, try to.
But
yeah.
Kitsune Rush Blade is hard to heal through with you know, anything but a trank.
Yeah. I mean, Juno's beam did get tweaked a little bit, so it's not necessarily the best for offensive. It is a little bit more defensively used, but that was kind of a lost fight always. The good thing for Iliad, though, is that they you know, low ground main used every ult here, so Georgetown, this Annihilation has to be huge. We're coming into last fight territory, so between George and Rambo, one of these two ultimates has to get a flip back here.
You see Rambo looking for it. No way that Pred gets away, but Kind good for the trade. George still has the Annihilation ready to rip numbers in the favor of Iliad Poseidon now, playing a little bit of peekaboo between these tanks. You see George a little bit hesitant to use this Annihilation, knows that technically Iliad had the advantage, and now finally popping this ultimate late into the fight doesn't get the value that they needed, and finally Iliad Poseidon will flip it at a 98%.
Yeah. I say you kind of wanted to go aggressively with that, because now if you lose a fight, it's basically over. So maybe a little bit of that passive play will hurt here. We're back to the neutral for the most part, with low ground main with a pull and a high noon. That combo there can be very, very dangerous if they get the positioning. So watch for low ground main to try to get this high ground and fight for that first. Oh, they'll just get it for free, I guess. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, very, very passive gameplay here from Iliad Poseidon. They're trying to get back in here potentially with that Eddie rally. Fred looking for the Genji. Now,
Pull?
moving forward, a good pull, but an even better shield by George Sun to deny the Deadeye as overtime continues to tick. The rally finding, not the most value, but it keeps the team durable enough to get through this. The DPS are gone for low ground and main as you see Britsky trying to continue to clean up this fight. Might go down, won't go down, and they're still in this fight.
Yeah, they got everything they wanted, including that particular that coastline high ground, which was great for Britsky to just kind of sit there, lay in, and just turret like Sojourn does. We'll be really reliant on Britsky's rails here to do some work paired in with Juno's laser. So it's going to be a tough matchup here because you have to burn through Kitsune and Sound Barrier. So, I mean, you have to act first.
Well, there's the orbital ray answered by the Kitsune Rush, Blade, and Sound Barrier. 2-for-1 trade right now, and this is an uncomfortable spot for Britsky to be in. Absolute there. Now Annihilation ripped by George Sun. The Kiriko able to swift step away. The Dragon Blade pulled. The follow-up immaculate. Now a 2 versus 2, a tank and a Genji, and there it is. Iliad Poseidon get it back, and they stay up in this map. 1-0 now. A great comeback by Poseidon.
Yeah, we were a little critical of their passive play there, Fletch, and I still think we are right, because sometimes you need to make sure you're playing aggressive if you want to capture that. But in this case, it was the right call for them. They knew that if they used their ults later, if they just kind of ate the losses that they had, everything would have been okay, and that's what happened. They used their ults later, they were able to kind of ride out the worst of the storm, and then come back with those two very powerful ults, the Annihilation and that Blade. I don't think... Okay, we are going to see Eddie go over and Batman match the support line. I do think that makes more sense here. I don't think you're getting the value out of Juno you really wanted and the Brig alone. I think you had to match it, and I think this is the right call, even if you're playing a slightly different comp.
All right. Go over to the night market. See high quality now on this Diva trying to take control of this front line, but right now it's Iliad Poseidon in position to move over to this objective. A little bit of poke coming in from Fred on this Cassidy, but just immediately chopped to bits there by Britsky and George's Son. A trade in, so Batman out of this fight for right now. Britsky trying to stay in this fight. High quality, incredibly low. Britsky does end up falling, but the damage is done. Saucer gets rid of Eddie somehow. So the
Good for 2.
okay, not quite good for 2. And wow, somehow Kine doesn't get rid of Rambo there. But it was scrappy. But Iliad Poseidon continue to persist.
Yeah, it's scrappy, but they have the one thing that they've been winning on, which is their positioning. They got to point first. They were able to kind of set up those fights and then punish the kind of a little bit of aggressive poking on Pred there, which led them into this. So low ground main, they have to be a little bit more particular about how they set these approaches, because Iliad Poseidon, that's been their great way to success, is these positionings.
All right, coming in here. Ooh, Saucer incredibly low, will get pummeled down in a poor position there, unfortunately. George Sun with this Nemesis form trying to keep it up, backs out, knows that there's a little bit of time to get back, and unfortunately Britsky is off the map. Not sure what happened over there, but in the front line, George Sun still holding it down immaculately. I think got the DMAC, forced the bomb.
Yeah, I think they forced the bomb out there, which is huge. That's a huge lifeline for low ground main, now just gone, especially with George Sun having Annihilation up and Sound Barrier with Eddie means that. And now Saucer out, that means that this fight is theirs. They don't even need to commit.
Yeah, I mean, just play it safe. Now you've got the pick. You don't need to go, but they're gonna
go. Oh, never mind.
Maybe heard our criticism in the first map about playing passively. Able to actually grab the Mega Health Pack, and for some reason, Kine thought it good to keep going in on the Annihilation, and this is looking brutal right now.
Yeah, say Iliad Poseidon just recognizing and punishing these small mistakes. I mean, that's how you do it, right? You set up those advantages, you catch someone out on a transition, and you just go on it. And this Kitsune Rush is going to be basically just as good.
This is going to be, okay, answered by the Sound Barrier. Dragon Blade pulled by Kine, but this time a defensive ultimate by Eddie to keep them in this. It's the Sound Barrier. Britsky has the overclock active. A nice cleanse to keep the Ramatra alive. Now headed into overtime with a Dragon Blade on the way. Rambo pulling it, getting onto the objective. No sound barrier to speak of for right now. Swag Daddy, unfortunately, no second flip step. This is not Stadium, but the self-destruct gets two.
Two? Wow, that's a huge lucky turn of events. Rambo's going to get out of there. Yeah, I mean, considering Iliad did not need to invest in that, they were at the point they were going to try to push for the full clean sweep 100-0. They did not need to, but I respect their at least decision to try to invest that. It was a bit of a heroics, but now back into the neutral, it's a chance for low ground main to really swing this back. There's no answer for the Kitsune rush, so as long as Swag Daddy, gets us in a good spot and gets advantage, they win this.
Yeah, they should win this fight out here. But yeah, an excellent job disengaging from the Kitsune rush. Kind forced to use the deflect. Arms are up for George Sun, staying up, and nobody died in that engagement. Don't want to call it a fight, wasn't quite a fight, but now Iliad Poseidon knows that they have their win cone, especially because Britsky fade away with the disruptor shot, getting rid of their mirror. Fred out of the fight for the moment. Now a Genji duel on the outside. Swag Daddy to the rescue though. Kunai to the skull. Now a Kitsune rush from the other side. Kind of walking down Britsky. No heroic from Britsky this time. Dragon Blade gets sheathed one more time. The trades continue to come through as the annihilation is ripped by George Sun on the objective. Flip comes through. 2 versus, rather, I guess it's a 3 versus 4. Now it's 2. Sound barrier down. It's just high quality left. And Iliad Poseidon coming out swinging on this first map, wanting to prove everybody wrong.
Wow. Okay. This leads us to a very, very interesting situation. The number 3 seed here, low ground main. Part of me wonders, what is going on in their comms, because, we know Zarya's banned, we know Tracer's banned. Those are 2 heroes that are pretty consistent. It kind of feels like Iliad maybe did their homework a little bit here and watched some VODs back. Maybe they predicted that the Tracer was going to be a bigger problem for them. Maybe they just kind of knew they could win in more of a ground and pound kind of fight. But yeah, I don't think I had that on my bingo card. I don't think I would have predicted that by any means.
Ultimately, they just outpositioned.
Yeah,
that was the main thing, right? Like the ultimates were okay. I do think I would still give that to Iliad Poseidon in the Ultimate War. I think they did use them better in the end, but in neutral fights, even without ultimates, right?
Yeah,
Iliad Poseidon, like we were critical of it at the time, but they understood that they had time that they were at a point where I think low ground main had. When we were critical, they had 98%. So they knew that overtime hadn't begun ticking yet. They knew it was still at the max amount of time that it could be at. So they had, what is it, 5 or 6 seconds?
Yeah.
For the overtime wick to burn down at the beginning of overtime. They knew they had that time to re-engage, wait for those ultimates to go through, and that's just how they did it. They let low ground main invest. And then they just came back and invested later. And usually, if nobody dies to those early ultimates, the later ultimates are going to win.
The other thing they did is they also capitalized a lot more on the punishments on those positioning. Because like you said, Iliad was always in the better position of where they wanted to be, which then forced low ground main to kind of take maybe off angles that were a little bit more risky, a little bit more easier to punish, particularly when you get caught up in Ramatra slow and somebody calls it out. The communication just looked a little bit better. So, a well-deserved map 1. Going into map 2, it will be low ground main's pick, and they'll get choice of ban order as well. Most of the time they pick first, so we'll see what that changes. With Zarya and Tracer coming off, though, I do have to kind of wonder what changes, because Tracer is the other kind of flank hero that we predominantly see. And maybe that was, like I said, maybe that was a target ban. Maybe that was, we knew we can't win the Tracer duel, let's try to get rid of this early. So I'm curious to see what the comps change to once we kind of have Tracer back on the map.
Now, if I remember correctly, it was low ground main that banned Zarya, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. So, I mean, just going stereotypically off of what everybody, tends to want to play on map number 2, it usually just goes Lijiang Tower.
It's probably King's Row.
King's Row. It's probably going to be King's Row, which I don't know if we've got any info on that, maybe? Still waiting on map. Okay.
Still waiting.
Kings Row is the most common thing, but the most common map that is. With Zarya back in the game, I'm interested to see how low ground main respond, because obviously they didn't want to play against Zarya on King, or not.
Yeah.
Kings. I did it again. It's
really
it's
just wanna go
Lijiang
Kings
Tower. It's Lijiang Tower. It's like a Pavlovian response.
Yeah.
We do
but-
maybe no map. Okay, Runa Sapi.
Okay. Interesting choice here. You do. This is another one of those maps that does kind of favor a little bit more of the dive heroes in regards to push. The other one kind of being a lot more favored. But this is not bad. You can play a lot of brawl heroes. You can also have a little bit of bonus on the dive. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens, because like you said, if low ground main gets rid of Zarya, they obviously don't want to be playing brawl. They obviously don't want to be going to the Zarya. So what are they going to do here? Are they going to pull out the Wrecking Ball? Are they going to bring us the Winston? We saw the D.Va, who D.Va's very, very good at controlling these high grounds and playing defensively. So we'll have to kind of see where this goes, because I think this is also a map where Tracer tends to thrive. So now we'll have to see what these teams really want to do now that Tracer is back on a map that's very good for her.
Yeah, I really do think this map is super flexible. I super agree with you. I thought when it came out it would be just like a hard dive map, but no, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is here, because I just think Zarya is so strong, man. I mean, we saw it. I believe we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Where they were playing Zarya on Runasapi still.
Yes. And it was
Between
still
Rat Milkers
winning.
and Atlas Kesku. Yeah, it was strong. She's very strong.
She's still strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am super curious where low ground main goes with this, because I mean, I don't know where they would find the value from this ban, because we just haven't seen like enough, right? They tried to play.
Okay. A Lucio ban I actually get. If you're worried about the Zarya comp, the two ways you have to speed are Juno and Lucio. The Zarya kind of fumbles the bag a little when she can't get around. She's a lot more easy to get when you don't have speed behind it. So that makes sense to me. Iliad Poseidon, though, I don't know what you're really afraid of. Are you afraid of like, you've kind of proven that you've won the brawl. If you're gonna play the Zarya, I mean, I don't think your counters out there are not really that scary. I guess maybe you just take a tank because you just feel like you need to get, like, I guess maybe what did we see, Orisa?
I think that was what we saw.
I guess maybe you just take out the Orisa? Yeah.
Okay.
I guess if that's the
Fair
one thing
enough.
you aren't really interested in seeing, sure, fair enough. You're not really like afraid of anything if you're really at Poseidon. So I think that's like fine. You won most of your DPS duels. Your backline is a little bit hindered, but you also showed that you could play Juno. You're not too worried about that, and you're already automatically protected on the tank side. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I'm curious if because low ground main bans Lucio here, do they break out the Ana Brig, El Clasico, just play hard dive?
Oh god, just hard
all
dive,
the way down,
maybe.
all the way down. I doubt it, to be honest with
No.
you. But it'd be funny.
It would be, but Kiri's as
Yeah,
his
Kiri's just
history is
super
repeats.
strong.
Kiri's just too good. I think it'll be the Kiri. Probably. I think if the other thing we might see here is where this is where
Kiri
maybe we'll
Wuyong?
flip the Yuyang. This is probably the place where we would see the Wuyang. You could play the Brig, but like you're not like then your Brig's just a target. You're not gonna do that. So it's probably Wuyang because that's your next mobile hero aside from, I don't know, Moira. Like you're not taking Moira here, so it's probably gonna be the Wuyang.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think that's probably the best we're gonna see from at least low ground main. We do have a couple of substitutions. It looks like. No, am I insane? I think I might be. Was I just not paying attention?
No, you're a little bit crazy. No subs.
Okay.
I think Batman and Eddie. No, everybody's in the same position. So I think it's just the plethora of new characters. There's the Kiriko Wuyang on low ground main, which yeah, that makes sense to me. You're gonna sit Pred with Swag Daddy in the back and just pelt in damage like monsters, and Iliad Poseidon is going to show the Zarya, which makes sense. They wanted to play it, they were denied that, and they still won. So now I'm a bit more interested to see how that comp's going to work. You're really dependent on Batman and these rings if you're Iliad Poseidon. So, you know, watch for Eddie and Batman to get a lot of pressure from Kind and Pred from that, and even Swag Daddy now.
All right, well, here we go. Iliad Poseidon still going to force this Zarya composition into high qualities Diva. We'll see how this goes as Swag Daddy starts playing exactly the way Wu Young wants to play, but is alone here.
Yeah, I say just abandoned.
Just absolutely desolate there for Swag Daddy. The bot will begin the push for low ground main, but already down a support, and Fred no roll to get away anymore. So this just a broken fight from the start for low ground main.
I mean, Iliad Poseidon did everything they wanted to do. They played as a unit, they waited for a ring, they got the high ground position, and once again, they just sat there and read it all out and caught Swag Daddy, who didn't move position when low ground main went forward to try to get on the support line. And that's what this wants to do. They want to catch someone out, and they want to just run down the weak target. If Wu Yang doesn't move, then yeah, he's the weak target there. We will get the Zarya swap now, and the mirror comes through. Sure, I'm fine with that. You know, you're not high ground, not necessarily as important here, but considering we're still in a neutral, again, we're going to be watching to see this Iliad Poseidon just stay as a unit and just run something down.
Still no ultimates online here into this fight. Flashbang will not connect from Pred as the flank comes through. Kind and Pred both in the backline, able to get rid of Eddie
What
here.
a madman.
Free firing from the backline, sees a very, very low Sojourn, and yeah, I could see that coming away. Rambo does get rid of Swag Daddy. They're finding picks to make this fight at least interesting, but yeah, I mean, a beautiful flank by the DPS of low ground main to put them in a position to get their bot rolling.
Yeah, it's a different variation kind of on this comp, right? Low ground main's comp is going to just play very separate. They're almost like a dive in the sense that they are going to come at you from different ways. They're going to be very, for the most part, pretty mobile with the exception of Pred. And if Pred's just not paid attention to, he's just going to go ahead and say, okay, I'll just take this free flank angle and just free fire in. So 51 for Iliad Poseidon, still very beatable. Kind with a pulse bomb up here. Goes a little bit wide,
close.
unfortunate.
Oh, very, very close. Blocked off by the shield of Eddie. Trying to get that healing onto George Sun, who is absolutely killing it with the charge right now. See, glowing like the sun. The answer to the Kitsune Rush is... Ooh, that's tough. That's tough by George. Throwing that ult fire. Nice. Well...
okay.
I also relate to that very heavily. Pred just hitting a couple of really good shots with the rest of the clip. Just pop the dead eye. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's considered one of the best uses for it, right? Is just a reload, and if you can get someone 2 inches from your face with a dead eye, why not? Looks like first checkpoint will make it to low ground main, and now Pred has this angle. The Genji coming out from Rambo here to kind of play a little bit more defensively into Pred makes a lot of sense. In some ways, you're going to put a lot more pressure onto them as they have this high ground, they have this angle, and suddenly it's Iliad Poseidon who doesn't have the positions they want to be in.
Yeah, I mean, but the Dragon Blade ready to go and no answer for it on the other side. Pred is dead. Not sound barrier, this tidal blast out there from Swag Daddy to try and get through the Graviton Surge. Just not enough there, and I mean, one ultimate invested for that win is absolutely immaculate. And a stagger? Sheesh.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, you'll absolutely trade the title for Grav. Like, that's a big trade considering the only true defensive is Iliad Poseidon and Eddie. Like, that's probably your best case scenario. So, low ground main, again, now on the back end here. As they did get the lead, it's worth noting, but the grab here is way big now, Matt, into the break shield.
Yeah, I mean, Rambo will go down, but Brisky with this overclock, good for a pick. Another ult trade there. I mean, Iliad Poseidon taking well advantage of this. I mean, just immaculate gameplay by Britsky so far this match on the Sojourn, and Swag Daddy just not having the best time in the world.
Just again, last picked as always, but the lead now going over firmly to Iliad Poseidon. I mean, we're back to the neutral. Rambo has the only ult, and there's, again, low ground made no defensives in sight, so Rambo kind of has free reign here with his blade. They just need some support to go with it, and they should be able to win get another fight and keep this moving.
Here we go. Dragon Blade pulled out on it to the.
There it is.
I mean, just the supports. They're just cut in half in the back line. That's brutal. And Saucer will be able to help Pred take it down that Genji, but this is just. They're gonna cross they're gonna cross triple digits, man. This is just great from Iliad.
Yeah, this unfortunately feels kind of like a low ground main kind of close the door on themselves here. We got rid of Lucio, which was our only real defensive for a lot of this. We're not playing any real defensive ultimates. We're all aggression, but we're not winning the fights and we're not taking the aggressive stances. So Iliad Poseidon with 2 ults up, a grab surge and a ray look primed to at least kind of hold. They know they don't need to get the complete at 120, but they also know they can win this fight out. They also know there's nothing stopping this grab.
Kitsune rush it down, answered again by the orbital ray, but Pred from the high ground good with the Deadeye, and I mean, you needed this if you were a low ground main. It's a couple of ultimates for one, but it's a clean fight win, man.
Yeah, so like on paper, Iliad Poseidon had the ultimates to win that, but what kind of happened there is low ground main just had the angles. You saw that. Pred was just uncontested from the high ground, and that's when Pred looks the best and gets the best results, right? When Pred is just able to kind of play a little bit protected, a little bit safer. So I really want to see Swag Daddy and Pred kind of stick together as more of a unit in this, because they'll be able to kind of feed a lot of damage into each other while also keeping each other safe in these coming fights.
Alright, nice little bubble there to keep Kind in the fight. Graviton Surge ready to go here, and George Sun with a very respectable amount of charge here. We're gonna see that Tidal Blast now on the Kind, gonna try to get rid, and they will with a well-timed Pulse Bomb onto Britsky. Gonna finally cross that threshold for the close spawns and get rid of George Sun despite the Graviton Surge, and now it's low ground main looking prime to move into a position to take the lead.
Like I said, that once they get to be aggressive, once they get that positioning where they can kind of feel like they can take flank angles and get that, they're just going to be in a good position. They're going to run this because they are just the more aggressive team right now. And now coming around this point, Iliad Poseidon, it's only rally with a blade, so it's gonna have to. They're gonna have to use this rally into.
Oh
the
my
grab.
God!
Wow! Wow!
George just didn't even get to play the game, and they're gonna take the lead off of that almost certainly.
Yeah, with Juno gone, absolutely. And almost a clear, and they'll get the clear even probably at this rate. We're coming to the last fight, and it's up to Eddie's rally and Rambo's blade to stop this. And they don't have the position to do this. They don't, like, the safety isn't in their favor, so Rambo has to kind of come alive here, and it's gonna have to be Eddie's rally to touch this.
Yep. And they will get the touch. Dragon Blade ready to be pulled here by Rambo. Hinder out. Can get or didn't have the deflect, and a beautifully timed flashbang to get rid of Rambo. So that Dragon Blade is useless, unfortunately. Now Britsky with the overclock ready to go. They do get rid of Pred, so it's a trade. And as close to their spawn doors as they are, especially with this rally up. Where did Eddie go? Trying to melt these players down, and the orbital ray is forced. I mean, even if low ground main lose this fight out, I mean, that is beautifully done. They got out everything that Iliad Poseidon could have used.
Yeah, I mean, especially the rally denial was so big, so that's a very costly fight just for Iliad Poseidon to stay alive. In that minute warning, though, you know, we have to win what? Like, yeah, we can't lose the bot also. We have to win at least 2 fights here before we even see progress, Fletch. We'll have 1 at mid and 1 at first checkpoint. So no, it's kind of on Britsky here against these 3 ults. This is a tough ask.
And Tidal Blast connects through the bubble?
Yeah.
Maybe just yeah, that's crazy. But Britsky able to live, but it's an excellent trade of ultimates. I'll say it for low ground main, right? They got rid of the overclock for just that Tidal Blast, and now the Graviton Surge only finding 1 pick with the Kitsune Rush and the Pulse Bomb on the horizon. This could be the end. We're gonna get active in the backline now, and a Graviton Surge ready to go for high quality. Only 10 seconds on the clock. Does Iliad Poseidon even get a touch? If they're smart, they don't touch this bot.
They're going to throw a body at it. Okay, it's going to be an overtime now with 3 ups for low ground main. It does not look good. Iliad Poseidon needs a miracle, especially with Britsky down.
Pulse Bomb and Deadeye deflected by the Genji, but that is everybody dead for the side of Iliad Poseidon, and just a mirror version of what we saw on map number 1. Iliad Poseidon got out to a hot start, but low ground main coming back. Excellent.
You know, I say well done to them. I just don't know what to say here, because we saw low ground main get rid of the Zarya and then lose with Zarya out. Suddenly Zarya's back in, they take the mirror, and they're winning. I don't think low ground main had this even predicted. Like, you kind of maybe were afraid to take the mirror, but I think that once low ground main really found their aggression and realized, all right, once my DPS are getting flank angles, once I'm putting pressure and I'm building up charge, you know, we are winning. We are taking the more aggressive stance, and we are forcing duels that they're not ready for. We're getting out. Once they've pushed the tempo of this game and push when these fights happen, low ground main definitely looks like they are the dominant number 3 seed that they are.
Yeah, and now I'm interested to see moving forward, because we're going to have both Zarya and Lucio available coming up, right? The thing that I'm looking at is these bans, right? Because there are a couple of ways that the bans for map number 3 could go. Of course, Iliad Poseidon has the map pick, but they also have, I believe, first ban.
A choice of ban, if they want it, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way you take the lead here, I think, is you go in, you pick a map that's Zarya favorable, and then you ban Kiriko.
Well, we'll have to see what they come up to, Fletch, because we got to take a quick little break and give ourselves and our players a drink of water. So hang tight. We'll be back with Game 3 in just a minute.
Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Low ground main able to even up the score there on map number 2, Runa Sapi. I mean, still a very close match, right? The Zarya mirror didn't exactly go the way that we expected it to go. You know, I expected Iliad Poseidon to come out now that they were on their comfortable hero, and you know, take that away after what we saw in map number 1, but not quite. They get out to an early lead, but can't bring it home.
It's really interesting, Fletch, because I think the bans tell us a lot more about how that faltered, because when Iliad Poseidon has all their pieces, they have the Lucio, and they're not kind of scrambling to play like Juno Brig to sustain some sort of speed. They look like we kind of saw it in map 1. They are a little bit better team. They position a little bit better. They calm a little bit better. But when low ground main kind of gets to the control the flanks, they get a little bit to play more independently, a little bit more like flashy and kind of, you know, kind of catch them off guard. They look like the better team. So we do have our third map. It is Saravasa. We are going to go on over to Flashpoint. And I don't know who this really favors. I kind of want to give the advantage here to low ground main, simply because they look like they were making more use of the Tracer, you know, like with the Tracer and the flanks kind of on the side. But with Lucio and Zarya both being back in, it's kind of hard to predict, because this is also a map that really does kind of depend on who gets there first, who gets the positioning, who sets the fight rounds. So we're going to have to be watching for Iliad Poseidon and how they handle this.
Yeah, and you know, they get their map pick here of Saravasa, and they get the first ban should they so choose, right? And I was kind of talking about it a little bit before the break, right? Is looking at these bans, Iliad Poseidon, should they choose to go first, just ban Kiriko, right? You've been less willing to play the Kiriko than the other side, right? And so with the Juno, you know, being your preferred, or rather the Brig. The Brig has been the main co-support to the, you know, main support, I guess would be the term. But the other side has been overwhelmingly reliant on the Kiriko. So I would genuinely be surprised if this first ban does not come and it's Kiriko.
You know, I actually...
Ooh, huh?
Okay.
Eh?
I don't... So I guess I kind of see this in the sense that you aren't playing Wuyong and you aren't really... You kind of struggled. You lost against them. I guess I get it.
Neither was Lookron main. Like...
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not crazy about that pick, but okay. Low ground main is the only one who really showed us the Wuyong, so sure. So low ground main's response is probably going to be something they can't get rid of the Zarya. They're already done with that. I would like to see them take away a DPS piece. I would say the Genji. I don't really see anything else.
Genji or Sojourn.
Yeah, you haven't played Sojourn. I would actually not hate that.
Yeah, Dan Britsky Sojourn.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that. anything else feels kind of like a gamble that maybe they're not going to play the Zarya. Like, I don't see it. They're going to come out on the Zarya, so I don't see why you would try to do anything else. I just don't see it, Fletch. Okay, whatever. This is Overwatch, baby. Let's go. Let's just throw the dice and let's just have fun, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
So, like, hear me out. So, like, I get it.
Dude.
They're situational picks. That's the problem, right? Like, you play the Wuyong because we didn't have Lucio. You lost against the Wuyong, but Lucio's back in, so, okay, sure. The Ramatra won against you if you're low ground main. But that was because Zarya was out. They weren't playing the Zarya. So these are, like, really weird situational picks that I don't imagine either team... Like, it feels like we're trying to stop the momentum from realizing, oh, we win if we play Wuyong. Oh, they can't stop our Ramatra. Like, it feels like we're kind of just banning out of the fear that maybe we're going to do that. When, like, we already lost, like, I don't know. It makes sense, but it's also kind of just weirdly timed. I get it. Low ground main can't get the Zarya. They can't take away the Lucio. I still think, I think you were right. I think we should have gotten rid of the Sojourn because Britsky has been a bit of a pain in the butt.
I think it should have been Kiri Sojourn.
I kind of agree with you, yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
I mean, that does, beg a question, should, I mean, this game will go to a map 4, so that's still on the table, I suppose. Yes. But for such a pivotal map to, as the go-ahead map here, I mean, I really just expected more. Because the first four bans were all really impactful, right? At least 3 out of the 4. I don't know about the Orisa as much, but the Zarya, the Tracer, and the Lucio all made genuine sense at the time. I was a little bit questionable about the Lucio, but you explained it very well, and I agreed with you about it. But this is just kind of a nothing burger ban.
I don't know, Fletch. I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Wu Yang is the pick here because I do think that low ground main could choose to just kind of run back what they did on Zuravasa and just, I mean, Iliad doesn't have an answer for that. Wu Yang can just sit there and poke you out from a distance, safely sit there with the Cassidy. I'll get a bit more of a pause to kind of talk about this, so incredible. But so like that I actually do kind of like. I think in that case, Iliad Poseidon is actually onto something. Do I think it's going to get lost because we're just going to both mirror the Lucio? Yeah, 1000%. But I do think that if you are afraid of Iliad Poseidon, if you're afraid of low ground main, just being like, okay, we found it, we won, let's take this momentum and roll in this comp, and you want to try to shut that down, I actually don't hate the Wu Yang pick. I do just think that the Kiri pick was better. The good thing that this does do is kind of let them go, oh, turns out the Wu Yang wasn't the problem. We're on match point on game 4. Let's get rid of Kiri because that's our last real pain point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree with you a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm not like, look, I'm selling a real hard sell here, Fletch. I promise. Yeah, like, I get it. I don't mean, fully agree with it either.
You're not wrong, I guess, but man.
It's a hard. This is a hard sell on the Wu Yang. I agree. Yeah, like
You're
I'm
selling
not
a pen right now to me.
Yeah,
like...
I'm selling ice to Eskimos, and I understand that because I do think that Wu Yang is kind of out of the meta. It's a little bit out of the favor, but I do think that when you, like I said, you did just lose to it. You didn't have a Wu Yang player. You didn't try to swap the mirror. You did just lose to it. So if that's like a thing you're afraid of, if you think you can win the Zarya, I technically Iliad Poseidon could have banned the Zarya. If you think you're not feeling like that, you're gonna win that. You technically could have done that and protected your Ramatra. But I do think that like if I was to I would feel pretty comfortable if I was in on those comms. That's probably what we're thinking is the Wu Yang. We don't have an answer to that. Let's just get rid of it. And just in case they decide to stay on it. That's the only thing I can do. I know it's a hard sell, but...
Let's play Junker Queen.
Yeah, I would say Junker Queen would have been the other option. If you want speed, like, I could have seen going to Queen.
Yeah, I mean, Servos is a good map for Queen.
Yeah.
It's flat. You just run at them, I guess. But I just struggle to see a world where this just isn't Zarya Lucio.
Oh, it totally is. Don't get me wrong.
It's...
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh no, we're gonna see the Zarya Lucio mirror Fletch. Like this is 100% what's happening. These picks are probably going to end up being mostly a nothing burger, like you said. But I can kind of see where the fear comes from, at least from Iliad Poseidon. Low ground main getting rid of Ramatra, I don't I don't fully grasp myself. I guess, like I said, maybe we're afraid. Maybe we're just thinking we can't beat that. Maybe we're assuming we're going to win the Zarya mirror. They're showing the Diva, which is their kind of preferred. And Iliad is going to go out on the Zarya. Like, I don't know about the Ramatra. Maybe that was just something we kind of assumed that maybe they would run here. Because like you said, it's flat. It's good for Ramatra. But Zarya is just kind of the preferred Brawl tank right now.
Yeah, no, I just fully agree with you in this case. But time will only tell. I still will probably think what I thought after this game, but it will be Zarya versus Diva here on the market as George Sun takes position on the low ground, which is a little bit ironic, I suppose. High Quality was on the high ground, but still a respectable amount of charge going into this Diva defense matrix. Not too worried about it just yet, especially with High Quality losing out on that mech there so early. High Quality is dead, and now these remaining players from low ground main, they just gotta run.
Yeah, they're out, and we were kind of alluding to it, but the Britsky Sojourn once again was the they completed the kill. They got the mech and the Diva, and that has been a pain point for low ground main. So maybe they're just not too worried about it, but. I mean, they are going to, again, go over and match the Zarya, which they won it on the Zarya mirror, so I think this was a smarter play from the start. They just don't have the positioning here as we were on the 50 point, so this is going to be, they have to engage quickly if they want to get this and not lose the point.
Britsky is still holding this, I mean, basically just free firing, but George Sun not having any bubbles absolutely melted here as we cross that 70% mark. High Quality this time coming in with just building up that charge so quickly, and now Deadeye. I mean, that's just peak.
Yeah, that's classic Cassidy. I just fan the hammer. I need to reload. Let's just go straight to Deadeye. Genji's in my face. No deflect. Let's just send it. Yeah, I bet. Low ground main, Kind has this pulse bomb. No Tracer to take the duel, so Kind kind of has a free background. They just have to kind of work around Pred here, who's been very good about guarding these angles. So Kind gonna have to be the one to open this up. A lot of pressure on them here.
Looking for it, I'm sure. You can see them in the deep in the back line. It does look like they got caught out. Now the Kitsune Rush comes down. Batman very close to one of their own. A couple of ultimates coming online, but Eddie with the death there, and High Quality cleaning, or rather Pred cleaning up a second, and that is kind of an unfortunate way to end a fight where, Iliad Poseidon very much could have come back and won.
Yeah, there was very much so a chance here, but it will not go their way. Not likely to be a retouch, so low ground main will carry these 3 ults to the next point. I got to give the advantage to Iliad here just simply because of the Kitsune kind of overlapping a lot of this. Kind held that pulse bomb, didn't get the chance to really get into the backline and use it. But the Kitsune, I think, is going to be the real difference maker. Iliad Poseidon is going to get the positional advantage here, which has worked in their favor in the past. Pair that into the Kitsune Rush, which they have in addition to the other 2 ults slowly coming online. And like I said, I'm watching this Kitsune. Batman has the difference maker within the comp to me.
Graviton Surge. Eddie needs it. Will get it off. Pulse Bomb did come down, but straight onto the bubble of George Sun. Going to drop the Graviton Surge on the other side. High Quality meeting their maker. Solo grab, but that is enough for this fight. Fred deciding going off the map is the best choice to make, and Eddie forcing Swag Daddy to make the same decision.
All right, so no Kitsune Rush needed. We won it with that solo grab. Hey, grabs don't have to be big. They just have to get one, and they did exactly what it needed. They got the tank out of the way. Iliad Poseidon still has that treasure trove of ultimates, so they're just, in theory, just in the better position. But, again, with the physical position and Fred kind of watching these angles, I do think that this is going to be a little bit costly for them.
Here is the Deadeye. That's not going to find a whole lot of anything. It doesn't seem like we'll actually get Britsky. Now Dragon Blade pulled, and Pred is the first victim as Rambo just walking around with that blade out, trying to get back to the objective. So a 1-for-1 trade there in ultimates. Britsky returning very soon with the OC. Kitsune Rush ready to go for Swag Daddy. Batman was used earlier. Kitsune Rush now down from Swag Daddy, and Jesus.
Wow.
George Sun
What a
just goes
move.
absolutely flying.
Yep. I say, well, credit to Saucer there. That was beautifully done. Again, a little bit of an investment, but not too bad from low ground main. They get control at the 88 marker for Iliad. I mean, Britsky with the only ultimate up, kind coming into another pulse bomb, but has been kind of quiet this map for a Tracer that's had to deal with nothing really in the way. Like, there's not really anything stopping you besides maybe Britsky, but kind unfortunately been a little bit quiet this map, but I do think that that's been hurting low ground main. So Britsky should be able to have some free sight lines once they get this high ground.
Well, here is the Graviton Surge, and he's so close to the sound barrier. Do they let it rip? The answer is no.
No.
Pulse Bomb does come out, and I think that was the right call, to be honest. But
Britsky gave up the... Yeah, Britsky used the overclock into that. Britsky thought they were going to be able to push. They obviously weren't tracking the grab surge there. I wasn't necessarily either because I was kind of assuming that high quality wouldn't take the aggressive play, but that's how low ground main does. They win by being aggressive here. And Eddie's sound barrier, they're going to have to use it to get in.
Yeah, and they will. George Sun able to get that first pick on to Fred. Now, I mean, already 60% on that charge for George Sun. Flip comes through, but they still have to get through another 10% before they have locked it up. We're going to see the aggression come through. We have the Graviton Surge ready to go for George Sun, and they won't even need to invest it. Very, very good what's the word?
Just good holding. Just good hold. Just
Yeah,
good. Just bearing that down.
Good defense. Good defense there
Yeah.
of the objective.
Again, they held the sight lines for Britsky to have just a firing range into where they want to go. No one gets on that flank angle and touches, and because Iliad Poseidon has the numbers, they just win that point out, tied us up 1-1 here. A sound barrier well invested, but now Saucer is the one with the sound barrier up. It's going to get matched by the the Graviton and the Kitsune rush here for Iliad. So Saucer's going to have to play very safely here if they're going to make this survive. They need to get the 2-for-1 value if they want to win this.
Here is the Graviton Surge sound barrier down. Doesn't hit high quality.
Oh,
Blocked off by the pillar. Just a pixel away from saving their Zarya's life, but just isn't enough. And now the stagger is gonna come through.
unfortunate. Just big sad unfortunate there. Kiri gets out. I mean, it was and they only Iliad only really spent the grab surge in that. They didn't commit anything else, so now they'll be able to kind of layer this out for the Kitsune Blade, knowing that there's nothing in their way. It'll get matched by a Kitsune of their own, but they should be tracking, and there's no grab in the way.
Yeah, there is the Dragon Blade, and I mean, Saucer looking to try and escape this, cannot in the end. A bubble there onto Rambo to help them get away. The one kill enough there for the Dragon Blade and Rambo. 100 charge here for High Quality with a Graviton Surge ready to go. We'll get rid of Rambo, but High Quality also kind of exploding there by George Sun, and I mean, they're letting them catch up with these ultimates now.
Yeah, the ult economy is kind of rotating back here. Iliad Poseidon again, just acknowledging when someone's out of position on low ground main and capturing that out, and when they're going for it, so they'll get rewarded on that. And low ground main just decides it's not worth it. They're going to go to get a position on the next point here. Grab surge up for them shows us that realistically, I mean, even looking at these numbers, wow, that's not a lot of deaths for the side of low ground main, all things considered. But for Iliad Poseidon, it shows you that they are just kind of coming out. They're winning the positional game.
And just, man, I mean, beautiful cleanse there too by Batman. Britsky needs to stay alive here if they want to be able to win this fight, but they get rid of High Quality, so that is immaculate. Now rotating around the outside, Hinder out on it to George Sun. Throwing in some basketball to try and get rid of these players, but I mean, low ground main, they just were not able to follow up on that grab, which was actually pretty big.
Yeah, that was, I say they kind of, the pulse bomb went and they committed 2 ults into it just to lose the cleanse, which you can be mad about that in chat all you'd like, because there's plenty of people who would be mad about that. Grab into this OC is probably big though.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to get rid of 2. Rambo does end up falling, but Britsky with a bit of a 2-piece there to lock it all up. And now, I mean, they're rotating now, so Av.
Yeah, I mean, they have it exactly where they want to be. If you're Iliad Poseidon, they have the position. You can see Britsky just perched up on the back, protected, and just has the angles there while George gets the charge back. It's kind of on Pred and Saucer here. Saucer has the sound barrier. There's their defensive tool. So they really kind of need to get value out of this. Saucer can't just commit this into an aggressive push. They need to make sure they use it into a point where they're actually going to, like, where they're kind of tilting the fight.
All right, sound barrier down. Gonna play it safe. Oh, I mean the deflect comes through. So the Deadeye, useless 9 HP for Pred is a little bit questionable, but able to survive, weather that storm. Rambo doing a great job milking the time and now going after Pred in the backline. Batman and Rambo, good for the pick.
That's actually huge, though. That does buy them on this retake. They recognize if we can just regroup our 5, they'll be down a very, very slow Cowboy, and they can push this advantage here with the Pulse Bomb and Kitsune. Very good read.
Now Dragon Blade pulled out here. Bubble and Cleanse invested. Dash back through, looking for the Kiriko. Swag Daddy escapes Rambo, but George Sun, eyes locked on it to the Fox Spirit there. George Sun getting active, pushing forward even further as overtime begins. It is immaculate by Iliad Poseidon. They lose the first point. Do not drop another. Need to dislodge high quality onto the Wrecking Ball. There will be some late players coming through, but none of it's going to be enough.
Yeah, that Wick is done. Fletch and Iliad take a very well-deserved Game 3 and putting themselves to match point. I think that final fight there fully encapsulates what's happening. Iliad Poseidon is just winning by recognizing, look, we can punish, we can get an advantage and set ourselves up for the next fight by catching out a Pred there and just recognizing, oh, we just took out their slowest DPS in the back. They have nothing they can do about this. If they're going to give up their Lucio 2 to go funnel him back, they're even further behind. We need to get together and press the advantage, and that's exactly what they did. They pressed on the Kitsune Rush. They took that man advantage, that 5v4, and just took that map right out from under low ground main. And that's kind of been the story, I think, of the night, is just recognizing when they have the advantage and setting up that advantage for themselves and then capitalizing on it. Beautifully done from Iliad Poseidon to get to match point.
You know, an even more unfortunate fact about that that stagger on to Pred.
Yeah.
It was on Iliad Poseidon's side of the map.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
It was.
so I'm not really sure what Pred was expecting to do over there. But it was, yeah, just a great job by Rambo, Eddie, and Batman to figure that out. The Cowboys loud. Those boots, you can hear them. So they knew that Cassidy was there. So, I mean, it's just a continued story from what we saw on Lijiang Tower. I got it right this time. They're just out positioning right now, and if they continue to do this, especially now that, like, as far as bans go, the pressure points are gone, right? Zarya, Lucio is can no longer be banned. I'm a little bit more questionable about the Zarya on Circuit Royale. Circuit Royale, far pokier than any of the maps that we've seen tonight. I'm genuinely curious because low ground main are, I think, making it clear that they do not want to take any more rush mirrors.
Yeah, no, I think this is the best kind of decision. If you aren't playing dive yourself, which we haven't seen low ground main play a dive per se, they've been playing like Cassidy Tracer, which is dive adjacent, more poke than dive.
With the Diva, they've tried
with the Diva. Yeah, and they're just not winning into the Zarya. So you're just gonna say, all right, well, we'll force you into a poke map. Well, bad news. Circuit Royale is still pokey, but it also still very brawly. We've seen teams innovate on this and say, like, you don't just insta-lock Sigma here. You can, but it's not the necessity. We've seen a lot of teams come out on the Ramatra, on the Rhine, and guess what low ground main accidentally already got rid of last map because they were afraid of it. So now I'm really concerned for low ground main. And, I mean, what do you get rid of? I may, you know what? Get rid of the Genji here. Just take the Genji out. Like, you're not winning. I feel like, yeah, I still like the Sojourn pick. I still do think that Sojourn is probably the most safest pick that doesn't hurt you. I actually fully agree. And if it doesn't come here, I'd be surprised.
If I'm being fully honest with you, if we didn't see it this map, we surely are going to see it this map, right? Sojourn carry bans. I mean, Kiriko, you know, they looked good. I mean, it looked good for Iliad Poseidon there on that third map of Suravasa. But it's still kind of been the lifeline that low ground main has been clinging to since the beginning, since, you know, Iliad Poseidon have shown the propensity to play these Juno compositions. So I agree with you. I'm interested to see where these bans go, low ground main's ban will be...
Sure. Okay.
Okay. A tech ban, a shield.
No,
I guess.
Well, no. So I guess if you're afraid that like their Sojourn player is going to go over to Freya, this is kind of a better Freya map than it is a Sojourn map. Sure. Again, feels like a adjacent ban where it's like we really just should be taking out the Sojourn, but instead we're going to pick the Freya because that's what we think they're going to do. Sure. Iliad Poseidon, I don't know if you're really afraid of anything here.
You banned Sigma? Just they wanted to take him to the poke map.
The poke map, just deny the
Sigma
poke,
and just
yeah.
get rid of Sigma. Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, then you force them into something like a diva if they want to poke, and you're going to run that down with Zarya. Yeah, get rid of the Sigma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah, no,
that's the mind game. That's the mind game. Yeah, right there. Good call, Fletch. That's beautiful mind gaming. Yeah. If you want to take us to the poke map, we'll just deny your poke tank, and now you either have to play Diva, who is the next closest to that, or Zarya, and you have not won the Zarya mirror, so have fun with that. I mean, technically, you can kind of play Ramatra the same way. So maybe, I don't think low ground main doesn't have a Ramatra player, so Iliad Poseidon's fine with that. You just play Ramatra or you play the Zarya like you want to. I don't know, man. This is some 5D chess here. I don't know. I don't fully follow it, but I'm here for the ride. Let's see what this brings us.
I like the Sigma ban.
Yeah, I actually agree.
I think
like
that's
that.
a great ban.
Freya's interesting.
Like, I mean, the Freya's another pen that someone's trying to sell me, and man, I don't know. I mean, it is. I don't know. I mean,
like, to be fair, Fletch, this is one of those places where Freya does get that fringe play since she's had her damage and her nerfs and kind of gotten balanced into the game. This is one of those places where a lot of teams will pick her up because Ashe is kind of a meh. Widow's still very questionable unless your player's very good. Kind, I assume, is probably Kind playing after playing Tracer probably has that aim, I would have to assume. Britsky matching the Widow is actually I guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you don't think you have Freya, maybe you did want to play Freya, but the Sojourn looks good, so I'm not too worried if you're Britsky. I think that's fine. No Zarya's to be seen, though, is the interesting one. I think George Sun might just immediately come out in the Zarya after seeing the Diva and just be like, oh, okay, if we're just gonna go ahead and just not worry about that, then I'll just run Zarya here, I assume. But okay, it is gonna be the Sojourn. Okay, I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I felt like there was never a question, to be honest with you. Britsky's been one of the best players in the lobby on the Sojourn, so.
Yeah, agreed.
Here we go. Circuit Royal sans the poke. See how this goes for low ground main as Fred gets a bullet thrown back toward them. Rainbow now moving up toward the high ground, as are these low ground main players.
Okay.
Kind with a nice little heady on it to Britsky, denying, the only kind of poke Iliad Poseidon is, really got. So gonna force him back for the moment at least.
That's something. That's because this is kind of that map mode combination where you win based on your backline, your hit scan DPS here. So this actually does kind of work in Kind's favor if they can continue to win on the Widow. It's just Britsky, again, like you said, has been putting an incredible performance. So watch that duel, and the backup for Pred now is equally big.
Now going back in on this fight, George Sun holding down on that low ground. Now Nemesis form invested. Eddie in kind of an awkward spot, pummeling through that shield, but Pred making sure that it's hard to push in with that dynamite. We're gonna see Rambo turn toward this Ashe. Dynamite will not connect that time. Unfortunately, disruptor shot to force Pred even further out of the position they would like it to be in. Coach Gun almost ready to go, but
Bob's
so
already.
is Bob. Bob will enter the fray here in this fight, and Bob will claim Rambo. Bob will claim George Sun, and I mean, take away the Sigma, it's looking just fine for low ground main right now.
Yeah, I don't think they were worried. The Sigma would have been a nice thing, but I think the other thing that we've been kind of neglecting to talk about is the backline a little bit here. We are on a Brig Baptiste for low ground main, and Baptiste does have a little bit more of that, a little bit mobility in regards to aiming and where they're putting that, whereas Batman, it's a little bit more bursty, but it's not as group targeted. So, add in that plus immortality field. It's kind of an interesting tale of two pokes here. Low ground main does have self-destruct and both supports up. So I kind of watching Batman because this Ray has to be a difference maker if it's going to do anything. What?
I'm looking for something. Self-destruct out. Maybe was low. Wasn't really looking for those health bars. Rambo with a Dragon Blade ready to go. Has to dash away, but 40 HP. Brutally low. Stunned up by the rally. And now that same rally is being pressured out by an Annihilation and a Nemesis form. D.Va no longer having that self-destruct to get back into mech for free. Will go down kind though with another heady to try and keep low ground main in this fight, but it's not looking spectacular. Swag Daddy's Immortality Field goes awry, and finally Iliad Poseidon will find themselves at the end of Objective A.
I wonder, Fletch, if low ground main's regretting that Ramatra ban now, because that is something they could not have banned out, considering they gave it before. And once again, the Ramatra, the Brawl, they are just not, low ground main is just not able to be into it, and they have this advantage now. Swag Daddy gonna go over to the Zen, so the very fragile backline here. I actually like it because you're just playing from safety, and you want to be able to get some consistent healing out there. This makes sense.
Now the OC coming in from Britsky. Good job playing a little bit safer here. You don't want to take all that damage. Fred getting pretty low, backing around the corner now that Bob has re-entered the fight. Bob in a very good spot to shoot both the high and low grounds there. So
yeah.
Will force this Iliad Poseidon push to stall for the moment.
Actually, yeah, again, I do think that Iliad had a good push there, but just didn't quite get the value. Britsky not able to find anything with the overclock. Just recognizing low ground main that they have to play around the Sojourn. They have to respect Britsky. It's going to be the Zarya swap, which I kind of was surprised this didn't come sooner. But here we are. No Lucio still on board here for Iliad Poseidon. But Rambo does have a blade with nothing to stop it. Swag Daddy is a little bit far behind from Transcendence. So this is going to be a free blade here.
Yeah, Rambo. Nice job, but a nice heady on the Rambo to try and force that back. Dynamite out to again force some patience from the Genji. And now inching closer to completing Objective B with 90 seconds on the clock. Have the Orbital Ray, but they're still playing this very, very cautiously. Transcendence to get on to the objective. Rally and Orbital Ray on the horizon for the side of Iliad Poseidon. Swag Daddy, barely able to get around the corner and escape, but Britsky with a beautiful shot there to get rid of Swag Daddy. And Rambo avoids the self-destruct, but gets the dash through onto high quality to put them into this final objective of the map.
All right, Fletch, it's 2 points in. Low ground main has not really found an answer. And we've decided we are now going to play the Winston and the Sojourn, which, yeah, we have more high grounds to deal with here. I buy it. We're going to go to Ana. We're just going to wholesale change some things. We're going to go to the Ana and the Zen. You know what? It's whatever it takes at this point. I don't know that those are the things I would have made the call for, but if they're comfortable and that's what we like, and it gets us a pick, that's good. If not, well, we're back to nothing anyways.
Mind is out. A little bit of a bubble there onto Rambo. Graviton Surge coming in on to the Winston, but George Sun kind of stuck in the no man's land, and I couldn't even see who was down there, but somebody was just pushing the car for free. So free 60 meters on this last objective, and then they're going to back out.
Yeah, Iliad's got everything they want with a minute and a half here. They're in a good position. They have two ults coming in. They have that Ray. They'll have Britsky with yet another overclock. Rambo's coming into a Blade as well, and George Sun now over to the D.Va. Just, you're not going to win that fight, so no point to do that. We need to contest the high grounds, and Iliad is poised to look good, but they have to get past this Bob, and they're going to, again, look to the coastline to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this Bob's going to go. Dragon Blade pulled, looking for the Sojourn, and Kind will be tracked down. Rambo will also be found there, and Bob kind of just eviscerated there, unfortunately, for Fred. Has had, some good Bobs, but that one goes a little bit awry now. As a minute left on the clock, they will be pushing into this final area.
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't move cart that whole fight, so they kind of lost a lot of progress there. But they get one last fight here, and Britsky's got an overclock up. No overclock needed for that pick, and they are going into this with a huge boost. They need to win this before the Ana comes back with an Nano Blade.
So many.
They will.
The healing is going to be thrown away in this fight. This time, Pred, though, cannot connect with the flashbang, having switched over to the Cassidy, and now it's going to be bubble dancing, and the nano boost onto Kind, turning their attention toward Swag Daddy Transcendence to keep this fight going as much as possible. Great peel by George Sun to deny Kind, who had that nano boost, and now it's just over. 11 seconds left on the clock, and Iliad Poseidon are rolling straight through this map.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, Fletch, that Iliad Poseidon won the mind game here with the Sigma ban. Like, just absolutely, just considering this was low ground main's pick, they wanted to go to something where they could maybe get away from the brawl, get away from the Zarya. They weren't winning it, and Iliad Poseidon just said, "Nah, bro, we're gonna do this." Batman and Eddie, both of the back line, has not died once from Iliad Poseidon. Take that for what you will, because that tells me that the flankers from low ground main were doing so much more work than the hit scan versions of that team. So that is a phenomenal, like, kudos to Iliad Poseidon support line for just living eternally. But also, I mean, they just clearly were not under any pressure at all.
Yeah, I mean, and I also kind of attribute that to George, right?
Yes.
I mean, the positioning from Iliad Poseidon supports was immaculate, right? You don't get, even with good peel from your tank, you don't, take.
You don't live
zero
it forever,
deaths.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't live forever without good positioning, and they played it immaculately. But George was, doing their job as well.
Yes.
Peeling back for their supports. We saw during that final overclock nano boost on it to Kind, who was playing Sojourn at the time and still is. But I mean, George just bailed back with the DM to deny everything, and that's just kind of been happening the whole time.
Yeah, the communication and the teamwork just looks better out of Iliad Poseidon. And low ground main, I mean, we're on a dive. We're on a dive here on. This is just not. I don't know that this is it, Fletch. I can usually get behind many things. I don't know, fam. I'm not crazy about this. The Winston's not a bad pick here, but I'm just not crazy. I think Iliad Poseidon just has the advantage just on character select screen alone.
Forces Rambo to dip back, and the disruptor shot is so annoying. Rambo cannot deflect that damage. So now they're going to have to play it safe here. Don't want to overextend or lose another. So they will be able to get a lot of progress here for low ground main.
I love when I'm wrong, because that means teams are actually learning and getting better and doing the right things. Like you said, a lot of progress still in the neutral here. Nobody's really close to an ult. Pred is the closest to an overclock and leading the lobby next to Batman, but still fairly neutral here, so it's just going to come down to the first blood.
Yeah, I mean, George Sun taking a lot of damage here, trying to get rid of this, Zenyatta. And now it's Rambo going down. 2 picks for the side of low ground main, and they will just roll right through that first one, man.
So this was the thing that was kind of sitting in my mind, Fletch. Like, the whole time, low ground main was trying to match the Brawl Mirror. They never once pulled out dive. Here we are on Circuit Royale in a dive, and they're just doing exactly what their team wants to do. They're dividing, they're conquering, they're taking flank angles, they're pulling distractions. They're doing everything right. Rambo has to go over to Tracer just to even try to help contest on the front line. Like, where was this the rest of the game is my only question.
Well, the answer is that, they're playing it now.
Not here.
They're playing it now, so we'll see how this will go for them. George Sun loses out on that mech. Coming back, Eddie and George Sun now fully out of the fight. A nice little shot there to deny Rambo's backline pressure, and the dive continues to just rip and tear.
Yeah, it's doing everything right that low ground main wants to do. Again, I'm just kind of shocked it took us this long to get here. Iliad Poseidon just don't have the answer for it. Like you said, they've won on positioning, they've won on teamwork, but it seems like they haven't been as trained against the dive.
Yeah, and George Sun loses out on the mech before you can even think about touching. That's just absolutely brutal. And now 5.5 minutes on the clock for this final objective.
I mean, this is the aggression that low ground main was winning on, right? Like, this is what got them their map win back in map 2, was just playing aggressively, playing to their individual duels and winning them. And 4 ults in the bank, They don't have trance, but like you're fine. You're okay with that. Iliad Poseidon has both their support up, so they have a defensive. But like you're winning on aggression. You're winning on a nano blade. You have a nano blade. You should be able to push through this between nano braid and Plimeroll like alone.
Back in once again. Under 5 minutes now. Eddie with the rally ready to go. Orbital Ray also invested here. Trying to get active with that ultimate. Discord Orb forcing Eddie back, but Saucer in the backline. Dropped by Rambo. Looking toward the Zenyatta now. Rambo helping to take down a second and now a third for the side of Iliad Poseidon. They're able to, withstand the dive now, and this is going to be a hell of an ult fight coming up.
Yeah, I'd say it's 4 versus 5 here. Logron main holding on to one of more. And it's going to be kind of hard to see. Well, never mind. We're done here because Rambo just hit that pulse bomb, which means the fight's stalled for now. So Logron main build an advantage for the next fight, but they lose a little bit of time, which they're fine with, to honestly. Like, you're fine with that.
Can't lose anything else, though, and that's absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, just a great call out there by Rambo. They knew exactly where everybody was at, so the dive, beautiful.
Once again, when Iliad Poseidon is set up, they have their communications going, and they're not feeling frazzled in the fights. They do come out on top. But it's 5 ults up for Logron main, so, I mean, surely they get this. Surely Fletch.
I mean, here is the OC in from Britsky. And
Nano blade?
with the Nano Blade, able to take down the 1. So, I mean, it's going to be really, really close here to end this map. It's going to be one more fight for Logron main. They try to find these staggers. Self-destruct.
They're oh, that's tragic.
I mean, now they're healthy coming into this this next fight, though. So,
I mean,
with an Orbital Ray ready to go, need to get rid of Swag Daddy, and that is beautiful. So little investment, and they get rid of Bread. George Sun will lose out on the mech, but coming back from spawn on D.Va is so quick, and now this Venture ready to go on the outside, kind of very low. They lose out on George, so, going to be a little bit awkward.
I mean, my only critique, Fletch, is that Cart wasn't moving. Cart should have been moving the whole way through while they were staggering that D.Va. Somebody should have been moving. Instead, they're winning, but like...
Another trade. I mean, I feel like Iliad Poseidon could have afforded to be a little bit more aggressive there.
Yeah. No, they had the advantage for the moment, but instead they tried to back it up and give and try to get the full 5. They're going to try to stagger this out, Fletch, but it's in a neutral, and Logron main are just here. Again, I say beautifully done, but yeah. Again, this could have been a much bigger clock for Logron main had we just, we just needed to keep the cart moving. That's that small it's the small things when you're too busy about getting the gong, getting the kills, and making sure you have the clean win. That, like, you should have just been moving the cart all the way through. You were doing that before. You stepped off a little bit, and that was fine, but a great showing from Logron main, like, overall. Significantly better. That dive was just unstoppable. Iliad Poseidon did not see it coming. They were not ready, and then they were constantly kept on the back foot. So beautifully done on Logron main. This is the team. This is the number 3 seed I thought we were going to see.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that even as clean as it has been for them thus far, Iliad Poseidon at the end had the opportunity, right? Yeah. With that step off by Logron main, they weren't pushing it the whole time, like you said. In that fight where George Sun lost the mech, even without George being present, they still had a numbers advantage, and Logron main did not back down.
No.
They did not escape to try and regroup like Iliad Poseidon tends to do on the other side. So, I mean, Iliad Poseidon had the opportunity to try and press the gas pedal, but a little bit too conservative, and it cost them, a 3-minute time bank on the other side.
It's echoes of map 1, Fletch, like we said. They are a passive playing team, and that's okay, but there are some times where you can play a little too passive, and that punishes you. It'll be George Sun out on the Orisa now. Finally, we get some Lucio back into this arena, so we'll see a little bit more of a different variation on poke, but the dive is still there, and again, what a nade, beautifully done.
Cleaned up there by Batman. Rambo hides behind the shield. Everybody gets their 2 perks at the beginning of extra rounds. Saucer and Fred so low. Getting the healing, but high quality coming in for the alley-oop onto Rambo, and now Iliad Poseidon recognize that their pressure is gone. They're going to play it safe here.
I mean, they looked better when they were just kind of enabling Britsky, so I do want to see them try to just get Britsky into a position. You can see they're going to try to move up to the high ground to push off slowly but surely, but they're a little bit slower and do it here as overtime's going to burn. Now they're stuck to the cart, so Britsky really kind of has to play it safe, and so does George. George cannot afford to fall here.
Something that Orisa tends to be very good at doing. Need to see it from George's son. Swag Daddy goes it down. Rambo able to track down the kill, but gets a little more aggro than I would have liked to see there. You're in overtime. You can't afford these, staggers out. They're still on the cart, though, so still keeping it going. And Fred has the overclock. High quality gets the nano boost, and that will do it for this fight. Just a little bit too far in for Rambo, and it starts to snowball with all of those ultimates.
I think this is the first time I've really seen it. You called it out that Iliad Poseidon was doing it, Fletch. But this is the first time I'm seeing low ground main turn and peel. I'm seeing the Winston not dive necessarily into the backline, but I'm seeing the Winston go and try to punish when Rambo goes deep, just like we saw there. When someone tries to put a little bit too much pressure or maybe oversteps their boundaries, instead of trying to kind of put the bubble down and isolate, they just go ahead and just try to fully dome them in, deny them all those healing resources, and punish for it. And that's really been what kept low ground main there alive on that. 20,000 mitigation for the Winston. Incredible play. They still have a little bit to go with 2 minutes and change here. I think there's not much else to say because the low ground main has kind of figured it out, I think, Fletch. They understand exactly what they need to do, and they're just gonna okay. Okay, I was like, please don't go to the poke. Please, the dive looks so good. I'm begging you, please, stay on. Okay, I can live with that. That's fine. I like the Ana Zen, the double flex backline's great. I'm a little less interested in Kind on Widow, but though Kind was hitting some great shots. You can see the anti-Winston brigade comes in. It's going to be Zarya, it's going to be Reaper. The Brig is there as well to kind of back that in. I think low ground main have it here. I think it's just going to come down to does Iliad Poseidon do what they do best and peel and work as a team.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Coming in. Overtime, extra rounds, rather, for low ground main their attack. Rambo waiting for the opportunity to go in, but called out by Kind. And Kind is going to die there, unfortunately. Kind of what happens when you're in a hallway with a Reaper. No deflect. It happens. So a good job there by Iliad Poseidon to mitigate this first fight.
Yeah, say a good counter read on what needs to happen. And also, again, Reaper very good against punishing the Genji as well. Fred going to go ahead and look for that high ground to try to get some advantage here. I like it. I like it. Again, this dive just needs to be clean.
All right, back in. Ooh, nice job there. A little bit of AD strafe. Get away from Fred. TP away. Fred backing down and looking
Very
for
passive.
the opportunity. Trying to go in, but high quality just explodes there. And now a bubble out onto this Reaper will be able to help take down the Zenyatta. And now Britsky back in position, looking good.
The double shotgun almost got him, but damage was done when the high quality fell. This is exactly what Iliad Poseidon wants. They just recognized, all right, we only need to fight this last corner. Let's give them that. We have the advantage, and we have the sight lines for Britsky when we hold this ground and when we play back into this corner. So perfectly what they want to do. Still in the neutral, but Iliad Poseidon leading the ult charge here. So again, they probably will pop these ultimates first, and that will give them an advantage to win. Swag Daddy is coming into trance, though. Just got to build the last of it now.
Rambo trying to build up to this Death Blossom as well. Looking for it, has it now. Cooldown's getting very low for the side of low ground main, but that sleep is so easy onto the
Ambitious.
Death Blossoming Reaper. Brig will not be able to sustain through the nano boost. Saucer did end up falling, and George Sun did have a lot of charge there, but yeah, this is just going to do it here for map number 4. This round number 1 between the 3 and 7 seeds in the NA Master Tier going to a map number 5.
I kind of said this in the beginning, Fletch, and I think this kind of just reiterates the point I was looking for. I think it shows you how close this Master Division really is. If the 3 and the 7 are this close, and Rat Milkers in the 8 spot even put up a pretty decent fight against, I believe it was the number 2. I mean, this is a very tight division. There's a lot of fantastic talent here, and there's still some very smart teams. So I'm not surprised reading the full 5, but like I said earlier, man, where was the dive? Like, this dive has looked clean from the low ground main. I wish we had seen it sooner. I wish we had felt the confidence in it, but I'm glad we saw it, and I think that's something they can carry into the next game.
So what's the last map type that we haven't played? Is it it's hybrid, right?
It has to be hybrid, which
I think it's
favors
hybrid.
dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, which favors dive
Generally
comps.
speaking, yeah. So it's going to be really interesting coming into this last map. You know, I imagine we'll probably see Kings Row, but that'll
Yeah,
be
probably.
that'll be later on because it is Iliad Poseidon's pick. They want to go towards the rush composition. So
Yeah.
Zarya is very strong on Kings Row. But for now, as we await this map number 5, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will have one team moving on, one team falling to the lower bracket. All right, welcome back, everybody. Low ground main once again evening up the score here. One more map to decide who moves on. A very, very good matchup here in our round number 1 of this Master Tier playoffs. 2-2 now, and maybe I am like just a future teller, because can you guess what map we're going to, y'all?
I mean, it is inevitable. It is always here. It is always lying in wait. It's King's Row.
It's King's Row. It's King's Row.
You wanted it. You wanted it the whole time, Fletch. We just didn't think it was gonna come. We thought it was gonna be way sooner.
Oh, you're insane if you think I want King's Row.
I mean, okay, rephrase. You were talking about King's Row, so it was inevitable. But I mean, makes total sense out of Iliad Poseidon. They want to brawl. They want to be face to face. This feels like everything's playing in their cards. I don't, they don't have a Zarya ban. There's no Lucio ban. Low ground main is actually kind of looking in a very, very odd position. The one thing that I think works in their favor, and I hate to say it again, that dive just looked very, very good. So if they don't come out on a dive or a dive equivalency against this, they're just going to have to, I think we're just going to see what happened in earlier games. Bans, I mean, Iliad Poseidon has to get rid of the Winston, right? Like, that's the only thing you're afraid of. You got bullied on the dive. It has to be the Winston.
Surely, right?
Surely. I can't imagine. Like, you could take the Kiriko. I also wouldn't hate that.
What? Okay.
Okay. They showed a lot of diva. Sure. I'm not crazy about that, but sure. Low ground main. I mean, this has to be the Sojourn. It's Sojourn ban time, right? Fletch, like, this has to be it. This is the only.
They subverted our expectations the whole game.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and pick like Venture now. Then it's just a Venture ban. They saw like 3 seconds of Venture, and they're gonna get rid of Venture now. That has to be
Let's
it.
see Lifeweaver. They played Lifeweaver and Spawn once or twice with Reaper. Okay, you know what? Fair enough.
Okay, yeah,
fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough.
No.
The Winston ban didn't come through. The Reaper, that would be annoying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to deal with it either.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. You actually also kind of cripple what they want to do, because the Zarya Reaper combo, while a bit nerfed, is still very good. So that actually, I think low ground main got the better out of this. I 1000% feel that way, especially if you're expecting D.Va to maybe come out to kind of counter and be annoying to Reaper. No, I think low ground main definitely got the best of this. Now the question to me is, does low ground main subvert us again and not play the dive like I feel strongly they should, or do they just kind of run it down Zarya again? Because they did fare a little bit better in the Zarya matchup. That was a little bit more of a toss-up. So I could see them maybe thinking, okay, we go back to Zarya, we win.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. This is definitely like a huge question mark right now, because I am so confused.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't. The D.Va ban, when you know they're gonna play the Winston because they just won with it, is very. Again, it feels very like pick adjacent. It feels like we were trying to counter like a 4D chess. Like, let's get rid of the D.Va so our Reaper can succeed. And they just took Reaper. Oh well. Iliad Poseidon is showing. I mean, I'm not talking about this Doomfist right now. I mean, the backline looks about right for them. Swag Daddy also picking up the Wu Yang, which we hadn't seen in a while. I also agree, makes total sense. Great protector for Ana. I like it. Iliad Poseidon's probably going to come out in the Zarya brawl, and I don't know if they're going to like what they see. They're not really going to be able to get onto anybody except for maybe the Ana.
All right, well, Britsky bailing back off of the Widowmaker. So, see how this is going to go.
Sir.
Okay, sure, fair enough.
I mean, we hadn't seen a dive out of Iliad, but
one
okay.
shotgun for another, I suppose.
Yeah, but we haven't seen a dive out of Iliad Poseidon all game.
To be fair, we hadn't seen a dive out of Logan Manning
either. Yeah, true,
so,
true. True.
See how this goes, I suppose. They do have the control of the high ground right now. Some pressure being put on by high quality in the back.
A little bit pincer.
They're just playing a little bit of house right now. Okay, that's exactly what you needed. George Stone able to get in with that violent leap. And, even if they go down here, which it doesn't look like they will.
They get two.
They do have the closest spawn of the map right now. And So Kind getting that second pick it essentially means that low ground main have been broken right now.
Yeah, okay. I don't think low ground was expecting this. I don't think they were expecting the dive out, so probably a little bit caught off guard here. 2 ticks made, and Rainbow with another pick. So again, the just great openings for Iliad here.
Yeah, Fred very, very low here. George Sun also incredibly low. So this will be an opportunity for re-engagement by low ground main. Tidal Blast in on it to high quality. Helps to take down Rambo. That extra overhealth definitely coming in handy to stay in that fight. Now they burn 2 minutes off. Managed to come back.
So once again, a very slow, methodical approach from Iliad Poseidon. That's what we're used to seeing out of them. They were rewarded for it, but again, they don't quite push when they have the advantage in this case. So maybe a little bit too passive again. It's kind of shades of earlier maps. They do have ultimates though. They'll have 2 coming up, including Sound Barrier, which is so important for this, especially with Fred just hits one immediately.
Overclock now. Fred will fade into obscurity. Just the one, yeah, more than enough. Now dive from the hazard. George Sun ripping the downpour, and on the over to the objective, we see Fred get stuck. So will be a good job. Almost a nano blade. Here's the nano blade ready to go, and the dash is out. So this nano blade is just 2 ultimates gone awry. Kind getting chased down now, able to hide in the bubble of high quality. And a Dragon Blade of their own. No defensive ultimates on the other side. We're going to see the dive come through. 1 now, 2 for Rambo. The Primal Rage to try just desperately to keep this under control. And will find the Kiri pick, which, could be good if they didn't lose another, unfortunately. So with Kind, Pred, and high quality all leaving the battlefield, Iliad Poseidon will be able to claim objective A.
Slow and methodical, as we've seen Iliad Poseidon play, and coming out onto this slower dive, just very methodical. Again, just trying to play to isolate with low ground main responding and trying to play as more response dive to it. To be fair to low ground main, it is working for the most part, but they're just kind of not really getting the picks. They're not really coming together to capitalize on the counter dives. Iliad Poseidon just has getting more pick value, getting more kills right at the top. Britsky now with this overclock up doesn't have the greatest sight lines for it, but has enough to maybe hold this out.
Forces back for the moment. Tidal Blast ready to go. We'll see it go on to the Winston. No one is going to be affected. Now the downpour in.
Oh, that's 4.
Is antied. Good enough for Rambo, though. George Sun couldn't get active on that ultimate, but Rambo more than happy and coming to catch up George Sun, and Britsky cleaning it up. 2 minutes on the clock. They're going to get very close to a completion here on Objective B.
Yeah, they'll probably get one last touch before it. It was a very costly a bit of investment for Iliad Poseidon, but it was enough to kind of get it through with Eddie coming into a sound barrier. And I mean, there's a nano up. It has to go on to the Winston unless Kind gets a blade. I don't see that happening. This is just going to go the way of Iliad Poseidon just for the sound barrier alone.
Nice little anti there on the Rambo, but the sound barrier is ready to go. Does have the nano boost. They don't need it. They want to hold it. They know these ultimates are coming up soon, and there's the nano boost onto the Winston, answered by the sound barrier this time. You see, trying to play a ring around the Rosie on the objective, high quality, getting extremely low, hiding around the corner, but George Sun able to clean it up. Some nice shots from Pred. Now neither team has a tank in this fight. Eddie cannot get away with that disruptor shot. That slow a little bit too much with that perk. Rambo, though, ready to go with a Dragon Blade of their own. Gonna pull it out here. Gonna throw it in on it to the Ana. Tidal Blast, Kind, though, pulling that Dragon Blade of their own, able to stabilize. Well,
for now.
The stragglers have come back. The bubble is actually not going to be able to protect high quality. Going to go down to the downpour, and eventually, very, very scrappy, very long fight. But Iliad Poseidon will break through.
Yeah, the the target selection not fully there for everybody, but kudos to George Sun here, who unfortunately after eating that water, has done an incredible job of controlling the map. We've kind of not really given them too much kudos aside from the Zarya, but just beautifully done this whole map through, just kind of pressuring, poking these side angles, and just being a nuisance the whole way through on this hazard. It's very clear that low ground team was not ready for that. Pred's going to go over to the Asher. You have a little bit more sight lines. You want the Bob for a little bit more last fight, but Batman has that Kitsune rush up, and Rainbow got a pick, so that means this push is basically good to go.
Yeah, and now they're going to get active off of it. No passive play this time, holding this high ground down. Pushing them back, now they'll play a little bit safer as you can see the Kitsune rush coming out here. Counter dive there. Rambo, I mean, Dynamite and Anti is almost never a good combination, but we'll see the overclock and put one square between the eyes of Kind. Everybody else playing a little bit safer than the Genji was. Britsky now lit on fire. Batman can swift step away. High quality trying to get this done, but it's just too much damage coming in. 45 seconds now. What do they got left?
Well, Soundbarrier is up for Iliad Poseidon in addition to the Downpour, so two great tools to capitalize on, considering they have been very good at target calling. It just becomes where can they catch a few. They caught several. That's it.
Yeah, Swag Daddy, the only one caught, but that is more than enough for that ultimate. Bob comes in. George Sun under duress, and now Bob will, you know, free fire onto the objective, and the other two players, I mean, nice little swing back for low ground main.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have even gotten a little bit more if you were a little bit greedier from Iliad Poseidon. I'm not crazy about 2 getting out. I guess you have the full 5 here, but it's not going to make too much of a difference here. Swag Daddy has the title. It's the only thing up before Rambo's blade, so this title's probably going to be the decision maker here.
Oh, and a great spike wall there to deny the title blast. And Kind now under duress by the spike block, having to play it safe. Fred getting turned on there will be found by George Sun and Rambo. Another nice little cleanse there to push back on this this team. Kind going down. Saucer needs to hit a beautiful sleeve, but will not be in the cards tonight. Rambo for 2, nothing to answer for it. George Sun falls last man standing, and Britsky putting one back through. They will be able to complete King's Row.
You know, kudos to both of these teams, but Iliad Poseidon in particular. We hadn't seen a dive. We hadn't seen anything really dive adjacent out of them this whole series. And then to come out here on King's Row with that hazard look and just absolutely run the gambit is really impressive. The flexibility of these players continues to just impress me. But the one player that still rings in my mind time after time again is just Britsky, who's just continuing on this Sojourn, has just been playing Sojourn all night, continuing to get picks, continuing to win on Overclock, bless you. Just continues to do the work in the background. 17-2. They are not under that. They are not under any sort of problems. Like George Sun and Rambo are obviously cleaning up a lot of picks, but 6K means that Britsky has been effective, just as effective in that backline with a lot less pressure. Seeing Batman also on 1 kill tells me that same thing. This backline is not under any problems from Iliad Poseidon. So low ground main, like they are in a dive, they are in that, but they're really, again, like we're not playing the Tracer, we're not playing any Genji, we're not playing a flank, we're not putting anything on the backline, so they're gonna have to try to figure out how they want to manage that, because that has cost them the game in the past. It'll be the dive. Okay, you know what? It'll be the Winston this time. Sure, yeah. Look, I'm not even mad at that. That's fine. Like, I like the flexibility. It keeps everybody guessing, does the same basic task. I'm with it. Low ground main is going to go back to the double flex support line. I actually do like, again, I'm a big fan of just Zenyatta, so say what you will, but the Zen on a backline I do think is going to be great here for burning down the tank. There's the Tracer I was hoping we'd get to see, so hopefully this looks a little better from low ground main just based on the comp.
All right, come back to try and see if they can do the same thing they did on Circuit Royale, bring it all the way back. Finishing with over a minute. Guarantee a win or tie scenario. On fire is George Sun. Why people get actions without, you know, waiting for willing for disengage swiftly by the stragglers of Iliad Poseidon? Want to wait for George Sun to try and come back?
No, low ground main's going to push this, and Iliad Poseidon's going to get right out. They're going to try to play for the third tick contest, maybe? I mean, that's just kind of
They
how both
can.
of these teams are. They no, they're not gonna push it. I mean, this is just how kind of these teams are. Low ground main plays aggressive. Iliad respects it and gets out of the way and says, all right, we'll stop them when we have a better positional. But maybe a little bit faster. Again, 5 minutes for low ground main on their dive comp. This is kind of, again, this is shades of the last of Circuit Royale. They look great on this dump. They're getting the isolation, but Britsky still hits shots.
They win a fight a little bit sooner on this side of the map, though, so able to get rid of Swag Daddy. Of course, those spawn doors very, very close for the side of low ground main. They have a nano boost ready to go here. I can only imagine that ultimate will be landing on it to High Quality, who does get that ultimate. Trying to
rush.
get active. A nice little boot forces High Quality back, and they need to keep George Sun healthy, and that's kind of been a problem thus far. It's 2 fights, and they're gonna invest with or without George Sun, and Swag Daddy, the first to fall in this late engagement, kind of forced to use the recall, but the Kitsune Rush goes away, and only 1 pick to speak of from that ultimate investment.
Yeah, once again, George Sun gets kind of caught out in position. The low ground main calls it, sees it, and acknowledges that Iliad Poseidon disengages, but High Quality going back in, just going to bubble it down. And that pulse bomb missing again is just shows you how aggressive low ground is playing.
Yeah, and Bob's going to be leaving the fray here very soon, but the OC from Britsky able to come in, find Fred out there. George Sun trying to get active, trying to take this positioning back, knows where the Tracer's at, but Tracer a little bit swifter on the feet than the Lucio, will be able to get away. So, I mean, a nice little disengage there from low ground main.
All right, we have Trance versus Sound Barrier. Rambo has a blade up to get matched by the Primal, so I say I expect High Quality is going to give that Primal just to make a distraction. So Rambo has to get past both of those sound. Oh, that's that's great for low ground main. They already got Sound Barrier up for basically nothing. That's huge.
Yeah. The dive coming in. If you can force out the Transcendence here, that would be immaculate. They do. And George Sun gets the kill anyway.
That's
George
worst
Sun
case scenario.
through Transcendence and now able to juggle this Zenyatta into the wall, able to get away, and that is like code red for low ground main.
Yeah, that is worst case scenario there. You gave up one of your highest value ults for Primal Rage, which has a lot of value, but you would have loved that for literally anything else, for Blade, for anything, especially because Rambo has Blade up. And now Iliad Poseidon knows that there's nothing to stop them. There's a nano boost on the High Quality, but Rambo should have a Blade to go here.
Yeah, and Blade will be free. High Quality is actually able to get rid of 3 players. So the nano Blade was free, but you know, George Sun okay. Well.
Stick? Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, okay, sure. Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, it looks like low ground just got the best out of that. High Quality did their own, primal blading as well in that, and that's kind of, they didn't say no primal needed actually. So they go into this with primal actually into the next fight. Nothing in the way of that, so it's probably going to get used for High Quality to get aggressive here. Oh, that's worse. That's awful for Iliad.
Yeah, no, that was their closest answer for whatever low ground main. They almost had the overclock, so now headed into this next fight, a nice little boot there for High Quality. And we'll see George Sun melted with the help of the Discord Orb. Minute 46 on the clock. They will roll through now. They have a little over 2 minutes to try and force a draw.
Small thing I'm noticing, but I think we talked about this a little bit, but Iliad just does not die on point. They never throw bodies at it. They always just decide, all right, we lost 2 or 3, let's just get out and reset and try to recoup. And I feel like you'd almost rather would have stalled that out and just get the full 5 easier, especially because you only have Britsky up. High Quality dies with Primal, so I mean that fight is basically yours, whether you need to throw in this overclock or not.
Yeah, and I don't think they will because they see low ground main backing away.
I like the hazard change. For what it's worth, I like this hazard change. I think that's the right call. You were winning on that. You were beating the Winston with it. I do think that's better and a lot more annoying to deal with. Pred coming into a Deadeye, though, is going to be a little bit more of a pain for the hazard because you don't have a direct stop to it.
Yeah, now rotating. Ooh, Pred taking a lot of damage from Britsky. We're going to see the OC invested here. Deadeye. Oh, and Britsky just shuts it down quick. Hey, Stoev, there's your answer. Just a swift headshot. Right back to the spawn room.
again, Britsky, who's just been the workhorse in the back there, just constantly finding answers when the team needs it. Beautifully done. You said they had a long time to go. 2 minutes is basically 2 fights here, so low ground main has to make something happen. They have 4 ultimates coming online for it, though. I think the question mark is going to be, how do they get past barrier? Kind of going to give up the Tracer and the Pulse Bomb and go to Genji. So make that 3 on board. So they have to try to get Eddie's sound barrier out before they really move anything here, because this is their only real, that's their only real thing to go on.
There is the Nano Boost sound barrier down. There is your request answered. High quality now going to pop the Primal Rage here. Nice little slide away there from Britsky. Stay alive in this fight. Gonna back down into spawn. The health pools are not looking immaculate, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Can they continue to roll this though?
2 on the dynamite,
Down 4
huge.
down, and a George Sun can't quite clean up on the down 4. Britsky able to take care of the aggressive Ashe in the front line, but the anti onto George Sun puts a stop to that guy one more time. Swag Daddy extremely low and no transcendence. Do they even need it? They don't. Okay, it's a little bit close there, but now we see low ground main recognize that they have to back away because they've only got one more chance.
Yeah, they spent all their ults in that last fight, and if they're tracking well, they're going to realize they don't really have a lot going into this. There should be a Blade and that Kitsune Rush, which basically seals their fate. There's no trance up. There's nothing defensive. Even if they hit the Bob in time and kind of draw up the rest of this for Pred's Bob, it's going to have to get used defensively here. So they're really going to come down to this. And I love that aggressive movement.
Yeah, a Blade and a Kitsune
Huge.
Rush. Yeah, I mean, a couple of picks there. OC used. It's going to be down to a 10-second time bank, and that's a team kill. That's
gone.
game.
That's it. That's over. Yeah, they'll get to the door and just deny it.
Yeah,
The number
yeah,
7
that's
seed.
brutal.
Wow. What a turn of events from Iliad Poseidon, stealing that away from the 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean, adaptations were consistent. That's just positioning, ultimates, all of it just goes down to Iliad Poseidon having, you need over a 50%, right?
Yep.
To rank up, win games, all that stuff. When it came down to this, the gameplay, I genuinely do believe it was like 53% to 47%. It was a very close game. It was a very, very close game from start to finish, right? I think map number 2 was the only time where low ground main looked like they were, a little bit further ahead of Iliad Poseidon.
Yeah,
but
I
other
agree.
than that, the other 4 maps tonight were razor thin margins. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better, closer game, especially in the first round of a playoff.
Yeah, again, that really just shows you how just close this Masters is going to be, even further up the bracket with Visored, still kind of leading the way. Like, I would not be shocked if we were to see like a Visored, Iliad Poseidon final, just because of how these teams have been playing and the adaptations that are being made. This was a well-deserved victory from Iliad Poseidon, who by any real rights, I would love to see how many people dump money onto the side of low ground main in the Twitch chat, because that is I would call this an upset on paper, but a well-deserved upset for the side of Iliad Poseidon. They just played the better Overwatch tonight.
I mean, ultimately, a lot of these lower seeded teams, I talked about it at the beginning, I'm going to talk about it now. They've talked about the work that they're putting in.
Yeah,
right? They told us that we didn't have the regular season we wanted. We didn't perform to what we knew we could do. We've put in the work. We want this so badly, and we saw that tonight, right? It wasn't flashy. It wasn't like highlight reel plays constantly. But if you can't win the close games, you're not going to win anything. And
Amen.
Iliad Poseidon proved that they can come out and win these close, scrappy, gritty games.
Preach, Fletch, preach. We'll give him a minute to preach. We're going to get an interview. We'll be right back in just a moment with someone from our winning side.
right, welcome back, everybody. We've got our representatives here from Iliad Poseidon. We've got Rambo, we've got Batman. Y'all get the win here tonight in what most people would consider an upset. The number 7 versus the number 3 seed. Y'all get it done in a gritty, long match. How are y'all feeling right now?
Proud of our team. Like,
Proud,
it's
very
been
proud.
tough.
I mean, it was just incredible play, I think, from top to bottom. And I think the thing that struck out to me about this, because we were talking about it, how this division is really so close, and teams aren't really as far apart as a lot of them maybe want to say. How much prep work did you guys do into this match in particular? Were you guys like really hitting the books? Was it just kind of just scrimming extra blocks? Like, tell me a little bit about the prep work that went into the first playoff game here.
We scrimmed what 2 times this week before this?
Yeah, 2 times in a warm-up scrim. The prep that went into it though was like we're pretty comfortable in our tank and DPS heroes, but we were pretty stagnant on like what backlines we were able to play and what backlines we were like comfortable playing. Because like something our coaches talked to us about was that like Kiri Lucio is one of like the only backlines in the game where the supports don't really have to play with each other and be on each other's tempo, because you're splitting up so much, tank and side fight with the Lucio. So funny enough, Eddie, Drain Cowboy and I were, one second. We're on the last team we were on, because I'm a flex support, he's our main support. This was back when no one had any idea if Juno was going to be a main support or a flex support. Yeah. So we started out with, and so the way we'd always played it was with me on Brig and him on Juno. We quickly realized I'm not that good at Brig in Masters. Plat's a little bit easier. And once we switched up, we started having much more success on it. I don't know how much success we had on today, but just like the versatility of backlines we were able to pick up and get more practice on, I think made us a lot better.
Yeah, I will say, because we were a little bit hesitant on that Brig Juno backline, and it sounds like you guys were too, just coming into those earlier matches, and it seemed like you guys really got a lot of that flexibility together. So, I mean, it looks like all that practice and all those decisions and the coaching is paying off. So, I mean, kudos to that as it is. Your next match coming up, I believe, is against
Atlas Kesku.
Yeah, Atlas Kesku, who is, again, another higher seed. How are you guys, you guys got anything, like any thoughts of playing about them? I don't know how you went in the preseason with them, but any thoughts about coming up to and seeing them in the next match?
I mean, well, at this point, we're the lowest seed. We're always going to be the underdog. So
yeah,
play with a chip on your shoulder and don't be scared.
Yeah,
I love that. I respect that entirely, considering we saw you guys play very methodically. Is that kind of style that you guys really kind of prefer to, this very slow, methodical kind of make sure you clean up everything? Because it felt like in a lot of the earlier games, it was a little bit slow, maybe a little too passive. But as we kind of see you guys switch into the dive, it felt like everything just kind of clicked. It felt like everything, like the communication clicked. Was there any like jitters going into this? Anything kind of really holding you back?
I wouldn't say jitters. We've been here before versus this exact same team. Like, it ended like during the midseason tournament. The exact same team.
Yeah, it's true.
We've been here before, so I wouldn't say jitters, but I think it kind of all clicked this week during scrims, didn't it, Batman? Like, everything with like how we played the game.
I think it comes back to that having like. At one point, we realized, wait a second, our flex support's best character is Ana. Like, and I can say that because it's like very obvious. I run Ana banners, Ana like profile pictures. Yeah. I by far my highest level, and our tank is a great Winston player. So we're like, why are we like metagaming this much? It's Masters. This is an OWCS. Let's just play the characters we're good at.
Yeah.
And I think having the confidence in each other and our individual abilities. Like, a lot of times I'd be waiting for, like, someone to tell me to rush. There are a couple times a day I just press Q because I saw an opening. And I think that goes for, like, our blades, our rallies, our primals. We see a winnable fight. We don't play scared. We play to win every fight we can see.
Yeah, we don't talk about my Blossom on circuit, though.
Yeah, we're not gonna. It's okay. Don't worry. We'll gloss right over that one.
I heard sleep, man. I don't know.
Where's my Suzu?
I mean, it's an unfortunate one, but like, ultimately, you know, even if you lose the map, like you won the war,
You won the
right?
series,
Yeah.
So like, an incredible game, start to finish, right? Because that first map on Lijiang was like, I mean, probably one of the better ones I've seen recently. A nice comeback on that first map. So, and then just upsets in general. I like upsets. So
yeah, we love a good underdog.
Yeah, congratulations, y'all. Continue the run next time. But for now, before y'all move on to that, is there anything you'd like to bring up that maybe we didn't, or anybody that you'd like to shout out before we send you out?
I mean, I don't want to like pick one of my teammates, but so I'm gonna go with the easier answer of our coaches. Like our coaches did a very good job preparing us for this and encouraging us to play to our strengths.
I'll shout out my tank, George son, and tell him to keep his microphone wherever it is. I can hear him.
Oh my god, he's so quiet.
He's so quiet sometimes, but whatever he did tonight, I heard him loud and clear. Keep it where it is.
Sometimes it's a confidence thing of like when he's quiet, he's about to turn it. He's about to become a little bit more Korean.
All right, well, thank you all for joining us, and we wish you all the best of luck moving forward. Incredible job tonight.
Can't wait to see you in the
Appreciate
next
it.
match.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So I mean, an incredible game here comes to a close tonight. Man, they all played so well. Both teams, realistically. 3-2 match, you know, you don't see a whole lot of those in the first round, right? So to get to see one here in the Masters division, always a great sight. I mean,
not even just the map 5 or Fletch, the upset too. We don't always get the upset. We don't always get that. So that's equally, it really goes to show you how close this Masters bracket is going to be. Not even just here in the NA side, but also on the EU side, because we had a bit of an earlier game as well. Though that one, I think, went a little bit more as expected.
Yeah, sometimes it does, right? Sometimes it does, and things go the way you think they're going to go. This one didn't tonight, though, so got to take those upsets where you can get them, of course. I do want to be clear, we are not sitting here disparaging Low Ground Main. They also They also played an excellent game. I didn't want to make it sound like we were like glazing Iliad. They played an excellent game tonight. Just sometimes you fall a little bit short, and that happened tonight. I expect this team to be good enough to make a lower bracket run.
I fully expect, you know, when we look at that bracket, that we'll see Low Ground Main, you know, push on through. They go up against Rat Milkers, who in the 8th seed, they put up a pretty solid attempt as well. So we'll catch their game later. But yeah, this is probably going to be a rematch. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw this in a rematch either in, I don't know if we'll make it to the grand finals, but maybe in the losers bracket somewhere. If say, you know, Iliad Poseidon were to fall, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw this as a rematch. This is absolutely something that we would see again, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, just an excellent matchup here tonight between Iliad Poseidon and Low Ground Main. 3-2. Iliad gets the upset, y'all. Incredible match tonight. More incredible matches on the horizon. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day of the week. We're going to be here running through these playoffs. It will be a whole lot of fun, a lot more playoff CGL to come. But for tonight, thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all again tomorrow.
Take care.